Shop versus mobile detailing. Hi, I'm Ivan. This is THOR Media, and today we're going to explore the differences between shop-based detailing and mobile-based detailing. Many people think that running a mobile detailing business costs less than owning a shop. In reality, it's often the other way around. Now, let me go over the two scenarios. Mobile-based, you are running around in a vehicle, going to the customer's location, and detailing their vehicles there. In a shop, and it could be your home shop, you could be renting a shop, whatever, the vehicles are coming to you, and you're detailing them there. And a lot of people wrongly assume that the shop costs a lot more than mobile detailing, when in reality, it's often the other way around. Now, let me explain that to you. When you're in a shop, it's very easy to control your environment. In other words, if it's raining out, it doesn't really matter. You can still detail the vehicle. If it's snowing, you can still detail the vehicle. If it's sunny, you can still detail the vehicle. If the neighbor is having their lawn done and there's leaf blowers going off everywhere, you can control that too in a shop. Now, as a mobile detailer, your upfront costs might seem lower. That's because you're not paying rent. You're not paying utilities. What you are paying, though, is losses. And as a mobile detailer, your potential of income by yourself. So if we're looking at, one person operating, the mobile detailer has a bigger or lower salary cap than the shop-based detailer can have. The shop-based detailer is able to have 2 or 3 vehicles ready to go, ready to detail before they start their day. Whereas in a mobile situation, you now have to drive to that person's home and do the vehicle there. Thankfully, some people have more than one vehicle, and you might be able to do 2 or 3 vehicles in one place, but you still have to get there. The other aspect where a lot of people are a little confused or they don't really look at all the numbers is the cost of rent. So, cost of rent is something in a shop that is a true thing, and you know what your cost of rent is going to be at the beginning of the month. In a mobile-based business, your costs are based on losses, not on fixed numbers, meaning that if you have 1 month with terrible weather, you're not going to be making a lot of money. If it's overly hot or overly cold, you're going to be working a little slower, so it's going to cost you more. If you're stuck in a traffic jam, again, it's going to cost you more. And most mobile detailers do not charge enough. You need to charge more. You are a luxury service. You are going to that person's environment and working on their vehicle for them in their environment. In a shop, it's a lot easier to be organized. It's a lot easier to be efficient because you're not having to set up and tear down. Everything is already set up, ready to go as soon as the vehicle drives in the door. Whereas with a mobile detailer, you have to arrive, you have to get the keys from the customer, then you have to set up, and there's a lot of different things that need to be done before you can actually start detailing. Whereas in a shop, you simply drive the car in, close the door, turn on the pressure washer, and off you go. Those are missed opportunities for the mobile detailer. If you set yourself up as a luxury service, then you get that type of clientele. And think of it this way. As a shop-based detailer, if a customer is bringing their car to me, it's their time. So they're the ones that have to sit in traffic. They're the ones that have to take the time to come to me. They're the ones that have to drive home and then come back later to pick it up. That is a cost to them. As a mobile detailer, that cost is on you, and you need to reflect that in your pricing. And most mobile detailers don't charge enough. They assume because they're mobile and they technically have less overhead, you actually have more, but that they should be charging less. It's the other way around. You're providing a better service in terms of customer service. You're going to them. They're not spending any time driving to you. One analogy or one way you can look at it, a lawyer that makes $400 an hour, it's actually cheaper for them to have a mobile detailer come detail their car and charge them $200 to do the detail than it is for them to drive to the car wash. So think about it. Driving to the car wash, taking the time to go through the car wash and driving back to their office will take them half an hour. They make, we'll say $400 an hour. That just costs them $200. A mobile detailer that comes out, does a better job than that car wash will ever do, and charges $200, that is a net zero for the lawyer. For the detailer, yes. And actually, it costs the lawyer just a little bit less because they don't have to pay for the car wash either. So think of it that way. And yes, you might spend an hour and a half with the car for $200. You're going to be doing a much better job than that car wash ever could, but you need to charge for it. And there's a lot of detailers out there that when you start, you're not charging enough because you think, I have no experience, therefore I'm not worth charging more. That could be further from the truth. You have less experience, therefore you're less efficient. So yes, your hourly wage may be a little lower, but you need to charge the same as everyone else in your area. Because if you're undercutting people because you have no experience, guess what? You're not building a customer base. Those people that you're doing for that $50 detail, when you raise your prices to something you can actually live off of, they're not going to follow you. They're going to search for that other $50 detailer. But for those of you that are charging a reasonable price, and by reasonable, I mean you're charging what you're worth, not what the customer thinks you're worth, but what you are worth and what you need to survive, what you need to build your business. That is what you need to do that. Now, again, a lot of people assume that a mobile detailer should cost less. And that couldn't be further from the truth. A mobile detailer needs to charge more because they're providing the service of going there and doing the setup and doing the teardown. So if you're a mobile detailer, don't look at a shop and go, well, they're charging 150 for this. I should only charge 100 because I'm mobile and I have less overhead. No, it's the other way around. The shop is charging 150. You should be charging 200 because of the increased convenience to your customer. Now, it comes down to your SEO, it comes down to your marketing, and it comes down to how you present yourself if the customers feel you're worth that much. And that is very simple to do. Make sure your vehicle is clean. Make sure you present well, meaning you're properly dressed. When you open the doors to your mobile unit, it's clean, it's organized. That gives the customer a sense of pride that you have, and also gives them a sense of security that, okay, this isn't some guy working out of the trunk of his beat up Honda hatchback. And if you are working out of a Honda hatchback, there's nothing wrong with that. Just make sure that it's the cleanest Honda hatchback that's around. And you're organized when you open that door. And if you're spending 15, 20 minutes setting up, you're losing money every time you're setting up. You need to get a more efficient system. So I've alluded to this, but why does it cost more to do mobile detailing? Well, it comes down to losses. Because of lost productivity, because of lost time, you're stuck in a traffic jam. Someone has to pay for that, not you. If you look at a shop-based detailer, if they plan an 8-hour workday, they can be billing 8 hours. As a mobile detailer, if you're spending, 2 of those 8 hours driving, that's 2 hours someone needs to get billed for. And that someone shouldn't be the one in the driver's seat. It should be the customers. So you need to bill your time going to the customers. Don't put it on the bill that you've charged that, but just include it in your price. Include travel time in your price. Include a traffic jam in your price. And then you'll be better off. The salary cap for most shop-based detailers is around $250,000 a year. And that's assuming $120 an hour, you'll get to there quite easily. But for a mobile detailer, if you're not charging properly, I've seen some that they're happy when they reach $100,000 in a year in total sales. That's not good. You should be up around the $250,000, $300,000 mark as well. And that comes down to how you market yourself, how you present yourself, and how you build your pricing structure, and also how you organize yourself. Now, speaking of organization, there's one thing for the mobile detailers. Check out Ralda's Detail. He builds what I consider some of the best mobile detailing units around, whether it be in a van, in a pickup truck, or a trailer. He does an amazing job. And he is a veteran mobile detailer himself, still does it. Therefore, he really has the pulse on what can make you a better detailer, what can speed up the process for you, and what you can do to be more efficient. And efficiency is important in a shop-based detailing operation. It's even more important in a mobile detailing operation because every time you go back and forth to your van or your mobile unit looking for something, it's costing you time. Every time or the time you're spending setting up, again, it's costing you time. So having a self-contained mobile unit with a bit of water, electricity, I prefer solar over a generator, but that's a topic for another day. But once you have everything set up, you can just open the doors of your van, pull out the hose, and start pressure washing without having to connect a hose and figure this out and turn it on and then on. No, have it on a hose reel, have your pressure washer on a remote control, or have it so it's an auto stop. You'll be a lot more efficient. The other thing that I see mobile detailers is they carry way too much stuff and they offer way too many different services. In a shop, we can get away with offering a multitude of services. As a mobile detailer, you want to restrain your menu. And by restraining your menu, you're still going to reach as many customers. But what you're doing is saying, okay, that disaster detail interior, I'm not set up for doing that. Sorry, that's not what I do. If you have a nice car that's clean and you maintain it on a regular basis, that's my job as a mobile detailer. But if you have that disaster detail, take it to a shop. There are many, many things that mobile detailers do that slow them down. One of them, like I mentioned, is offering too many services. You don't want to be the jack of all trades when you're a mobile detailer. You want to offer good services, targeted services, and that way you get a better customer base. And also at the same time, it saves you time. I see mobile detailers that carry extractors and steamers, and they have every chemical under the sun. How often do you actually use it? And how far ahead are you scheduled? If you're scheduled a couple days in advance, you know exactly what today's job and tomorrow's job is going to entail. You don't need to carry the full arsenal with you. I've detailed mobile out of a smart car and was able to do it successfully. Why? Because I planned ahead. I brought only what I needed to do the job that day. I didn't need to have 500 gallons of water. 5 gallons was more than enough. One bucket, I was good. Uh, Little things like that where you can adapt and adjust yourself to what you're doing. Whereas in a shop, yes, you can have all that equipment just laying there waiting just in case you need it. But again, it's not necessary. And when you're starting a business, to get that clientele, to build that trust, a shop builds trust faster than a mobile unit. Because a mobile unit, unfortunately, many consumers see it as almost fly by night, or you're not really committed. So you might be here today, you might not be here tomorrow. And unfortunately, that is a bit of reality in our industry because getting into detailing is very inexpensive. You can start being a mobile detailer for $100, maybe $200 and get a couple jobs under your belt and then reinvest. Whereas a shop, well, you might have to pay first and last month's rent and you might need to do some shop improvements. So yes, there is a bigger cost of entry for a shop, slightly. If you're starting from zero, well, a mobile detailer, you have to buy a van. Or you have to buy a vehicle to do it. Now, you may already own a vehicle and that vehicle should be fine. But if you're setting it up as a standalone business that's not going to impact your out of business life, then yes, you need to buy a van. You need to do all sorts of different things. One cost of business is getting the lettering on the van. In a shop, it's the sign. A lot of times when you're renting a shop, the sign is already there. You just have to change the signage on it. And whereas a mobile base, you have to have your vehicle wrapped or something to that effect. So the costs are actually a little more for a vehicle wrap for advertising than a sign. Again, don't rule out a shop-based business if you're starting. Yes, there's maybe a little more investment up front, but you will get customers faster. Just one example is Google. Now, everyone wants their business on Google, which is a good thing because it's a way of customers to find you. But a mobile business, Google makes it very difficult for you to register or to put your business on Google. Whereas a shop-based, you have an address, they can find it on Google Maps, everyone's happy. So again, I'm not putting down mobile detailers. Mobile detailers have their place, but you need to realize that, again, you're a luxury service. You need to charge more than a shop does. You need to embrace the fact that you are saving your customers an inordinate amount of time. And if your customer says, well, the shop will do it for $150, why are you charging $200? Then explain to them how much time they're losing driving to the shop, going back to pick the car up, et cetera, and how much time you are saving them by being a mobile detailer. And that will increase your cost. Now, another cost, and that will increase your profitability. So, opportunity costs are something that a lot of people don't look at in our industry. And opportunity costs come from how much money are you losing or how much opportunity to gain income are you losing by doing a certain thing. So, an example, you pay your employee $20 an hour. For many detailers, if I ask them, okay, your employee wastes half an hour, how much did it cost you? Automatically, they'll say $10. That's a wrong answer. They are actually costing you about $150. Why 150? Easy. You should be making or charging at least $120 an hour. So every minute wasted is time, is $2. So if they waste 30 minutes, there's $60 there. But that's just the time they wasted. Then you have their salary on top of that. But you could have been earning $120 in that hour as well. So another $60. It adds up very quickly. So if you are not efficient or your employee is wasting time, that is costing you money. And it's the same for a mobile detailer. When you're driving, your employee is driving from point A to point B, that is costing you money. And no, it's not costing you the 50 cents a minute that you're paying your employee. It's costing you the $2 a minute that that employee could be making. When you look at it that way, you really want to charge for that travel time. As a shop, you don't have to charge for travel time. You don't have to charge for any of that. But you need to charge appropriately as well because you have overhead costs. You have fixed overhead costs. Mobile detailer has variable overhead losses. It's the easiest way of looking at it. As a shop, you know first of the month what it's going to cost to run that shop that month. Whereas a mobile detailer, they know at the end of the month how much it costs them in losses to run their business. That is the major difference between the two. And both are really good. Both work. Both are great business models. Both can work. Both you can be profitable and both you can scale. Yes, you can scale a mobile business. You need to have proper training in place. And again, it comes back to offering less services. If you're offering a maintenance wash on the outside, a maintenance wash on the inside, a wash, clean, seal, maybe a light polish and a ceramic coating, as a mobile detailer, all things you should be able to do within one day. You don't want to have to go back to the customer. That is the key. And by having a simplified service offering, again, it's easy to train your employee with those simple basic services. If you have this Cheesecake Factory style menu where there's way too many options, confuses the customer, confuses the employee, and it's very hard to scale. So if you have more of an In-N-Out burger style menu where you have a burger, a hot dog, or a cheeseburger and fries, that's about it. Everyone goes and eats. They're just as happy eating at In-N-Out Burger, some people are happier, than going to the Cheesecake Factory where it takes half an hour to decide what you're going to eat and you're still not sure if that was the right choice. Have a simplified menu as a mobile detailer, and even as a shop-based, you don't want that overly extensive menu. You don't want to give your customers analysis paralysis, meaning that they come in, they want something, and then you've given them so many options, they're just confused and they don't know what they want anymore. No, you're there to counsel them, whether you're a mobile detailer or shop-based detailer, and guide them to the proper package that works for them, that works for you, but fills their needs. If you watched this far, I'd like to thank you. And if you're not subscribed to THOR Media, you really should be subscribed to THOR Media. You know, I'm not the only content creator on THOR Media. There's a bunch of us. We're all here for your education, for your entertainment, and to enjoy time together. You know, THOR, or the House of Rags, has built a great community. Even though it's only been, 4 or 5 months. When did they start? Anyways, it hasn't been that long. And it's been an amazing ride so far, and it just keeps growing. So if you're not subscribed to the House of Rags, you really should be. It's good for you, good for them, and good for the industry in general. In conclusion, shop-based or mobile-based, it's up to you. But you need to be aware that what you've heard online may not be true. That, mobile business is a lot cheaper to run. It isn't. A mobile business is as expensive, and as I said, maybe sometimes more expensive than shop-based. If you're living in Southern California, yes, mobile business might be the better choice. If you're anywhere that gets snow, you're several months out of the year where you're not at your best, and you can't work with that. So a shop-based is a little better if you're in an area that snows or rains a lot. So there are advantages to both. One is not better than the other. They are just different business models that end up doing the same thing. And in reality, like I said, if you're a mobile detailer, you need to charge more per hour than that shop-based detailer because you're providing a service that the customer can't get anywhere else. If you have any questions, comments, thoughts, or ideas, leave them below. Don't forget to hit that notification bell, subscribe. If you have a question, I'm always happy to answer. See you in the next deep dive.